He believed their marriage was strong, maybe just a little dull. When his wife steps into the shower, leaving her laptop open on the kitchen counter, he sees the search query. How to tell your husband you're leaving. He is instantly plunged into a race against the clock. He needs to secretly access her private communications and secure his finances before she steps out, dressed and ready to deliver the final conversation. But the deeper he dives into her digital life, the faster he realizes her plan isn't a simple separation. It is a meticulously crafted escape involving secrets, deception, and a massive betrayal that threatens to destroy his reputation and everything they built together. Now, he must decide whether to expose her plot immediately or play the clueless husband until he has the leverage to fight back. I heard the water running, Sarah humming softly in the master bathroom. I stopped by the office desk to grab my wallet before heading downstairs. That's when I saw the screen. The laptop was unlocked, displaying a Google search result page. It wasn't a casual query about recipes or travel plans. The words were a physical blow, freezing the air in my chest. How to tell your husband you're leaving. I didn't panic. Panic wastes time. I clicked the browser history tab. She hadn't cleared anything. The last 10 entries were different variations of the same theme. Divorce Lawyers NYC, first consultation free. Apartments for rent, studio Upper East Side, and a dense article titled, Financial Steps Every Woman Must Take Before Filing. She was gone already. She just hadn't told me yet. I leaned against the desk, steadying my breath. The shower noise was a countdown. I needed proof that went beyond a nervous search. I logged into her banking app on the laptop. Our joint checking account was fine. Paid bills, standard balances. Then I checked her personal savings account, the one she started when she got her bonus last year. It should have held almost $40,000. The balance read $1245, $40,000 gone. It wasn't a single transfer. I quickly reviewed the transaction log. It was a series of 6 large wire transfers over the last 2 weeks, all labeled vaguely. Investment portfolio update, or secured deposit. The destination for the bulk of the money was a holding company address in Delaware. This wasn't just leaving me. This was calculated and premeditated theft. I didn't have time to analyze the destination. I grabbed the nearest USB drive, copied the entire browser history, saved screenshots of the empty bank account and the recent wire transfer details. I ejected the drive and closed the laptop. Lid gently, exactly how she left it. I was rinsing my coffee cup in the kitchen sink when she walked in, wrapped tight in a towel, steam curling off her shoulders. "Hey," she said, her voice bright. "Did you need the desk?" "Nah, just getting water." I kept my voice flat, neutral. The professionalism I used in high-stakes negotiations kicked in. "Everything okay?" "Perfect. Why wouldn't it be?" She smiled, but her eyes darted slightly to the left, a micro-expression I knew meant she was constructing a lie. "No reason, just asking." I forced a small smile back. "I'm heading to the office early. Big meeting." "Okay, see you tonight." I didn't go to the office. I drove 5 blocks away, parked, and opened the laptop I kept in the trunk. I ran the Delaware holding company address. It was a shell corporation used for asset protection, recently incorporated. 3 weeks ago. The principal lie. Owner was listed under an LLC, but the registered agent was familiar, Markowitz and Sons. They specialized in high-net-worth divorce proceedings and asset hiding. She wasn't preparing to leave. She was executing phase 1 of a financial ambush. I needed her communications. I drove back home at 11 a.m., claiming the meeting was canceled. Sarah was out, supposedly running errands. I found her phone charging in the bedroom. I knew the passcode. Our anniversary year, 2017. I bypassed her main messaging apps. She was smart. She knew I knew the code. The real dirt would be hidden. I checked the archived messages in Signal and the deleted folders in WhatsApp. Nothing. Then I checked her secondary burner text app she used for clients she didn't want recorded on the primary network. I found the thread immediately. It was titled simply, "The Project." It wasn't a lawyer. It was a man. The last few messages were chilling. His message, yesterday, 9 p.m. "The account is live. Funds confirmed. You're secure." Her reply, today, 7 a.m. "It's done. Thank you, Jay. I just need to figure out the timing for telling Mark. I hate lying to him." His reply, 7:05 a.m. "Stop delaying. You hate being trapped. Dinner tomorrow night? We can celebrate." Her reply, 7:08 a.m. "I'd like that." Jay, not a lawyer, not just an escape plan. This was an affair, financially leveraged and meticulously planned. The money went to secure her future with Jay. I downloaded the entire text thread, took screenshots, and then cleared the metadata so it looked like the app hadn't been recently opened. I placed the phone back on the nightstand. I sat on the edge of the bed, feeling nothing but a clear, cold resolve. She thought she had the upper hand, that she was sneaking out the back door with the savings and a new man before I even realized the house was on fire. She was wrong. I knew everything. And now, the planning started on my end. I needed to move faster and smarter than she ever anticipated. The immediate goal: find out who Jay was and what exactly they planned for tomorrow night's celebratory dinner. I had 36 hours until that dinner, and I was going to crash it spectacularly. I got up, walked to the closet, and pulled out my laptop bag. I had a lot of work to do. The game was on. I smiled faintly. Sarah was going to get the surprise of her life. I synced Sarah's phone to my secure laptop immediately. I didn't bother with the usual forensics. I just needed recent texts and emails. Her phone was locked with Face ID, but I had bypassed that years ago for emergencies. A quick script pulled the last 48 hours of encrypted messages related to the project and any contact with a single initial. Jay was Jason Miller, Vice President of Acquisitions at Archon Group, our biggest competitor and the very company we were trying to neutralize with this merger. This wasn't just a fling, it was corporate espionage thinly veiled as a relationship. Sarah was trading pillow talk for proprietary information. Their immediate plan was revealed in a detailed text thread dated yesterday. Jason would propose a hostile takeover strategy to Sarah during the celebratory dinner tomorrow night. The celebration was their cover. If the merger failed, Sarah would jump ship to Jason's company, bringing key proprietary data from our R&D servers with her. The dinner wasn't a celebration. It was a handover and a professional assassination. I closed the laptop and grabbed my burner phone. I called Daniel, the CEO. I used the secure, encrypted line we reserved for absolute crisis management. "Daniel, it's me. Listen closely. This isn't negotiable, and you cannot tell anyone, especially not Sarah. The merger is compromised. She is feeding R&D data to Jason Miller at Archon Group." The line was silent for a beat. "Proof?" "I have the communications. They plan to execute a hostile takeover maneuver during the celebratory dinner tomorrow night. They think they're meeting to toast our success, but they're meeting to kill the deal and steal our intellectual property. We need to move the proprietary files out of the shared cloud server, now, and lock Sarah out of her network credentials immediately. Tell IT it's a 0-day security breach, an external threat. Fire anyone who asks questions, but get this done in the next hour." "Consider it done." Daniel's voice was stone cold. "What about the dinner? Do we cancel?" "No. The dinner proceeds exactly as planned. But we're bringing a surprise guest. Get the lawyers ready. I want Miller served with papers the minute he opens his mouth about any professional matter. We will nail them both publicly and professionally." I hung up before he could ask more questions. Corporate damage control was handled. Now for the personal aspect. I logged into our joint bank accounts. Sarah had been subtly moving large sums into a personal offshore account for months. Amateurs. I executed a full financial reversal, draining the joint accounts and moving the vast majority into a trust fund I established years ago, which was accessible only by my signature and named my sister as the secondary beneficiary. I left her just enough to cover immediate expenses for a few weeks, enough that she wouldn't panic immediately, thinking I hadn't noticed the theft yet. Next, the packing. I went to her side of the closet. I methodically packed 3 large suitcases with her belongings. Not the expensive stuff, just the essentials. I labeled them in my mind. For Archon VP's mistress. I placed them by the garage door, ready for the Uber that would take her away tomorrow night. The house would be mine by the time she finished her pathetic dinner. I walked back into the living room and put on a bland documentary about the stock market. I practiced my smile. Sarah came home late, slamming the door slightly, exhausted from her big meeting. She dropped her briefcase heavily. "Rough day, honey?" I asked, looking up innocently from the couch where I was reading a financial report I barely saw. She gave me a quick, tired kiss. "You wouldn't believe it. Just endless negotiation prep. But tomorrow night, it will all be worth it. The dinner is going to be perfect. Our careers are about to explode." "I know," I replied, leaning into her, hug, giving her a tight squeeze she mistook for affection. "Absolutely perfect." I felt her relax against me, unaware that the ground beneath her was already dust. I had less than 24 hours left until the clock hit 0. The stage was set. I just needed to keep up the loving husband facade until the curtain rose. She finally pulled away, heading to the kitchen to grab a glass of wine. "I need to review the financials one last time," she said, her voice tight with professional focus. I waited until I heard the faint clink of the bottle opener. My window. I went straight to her locked office drawer. The small antique key was exactly where I'd left the spare, taped under the heavy desk lamp. An amateur security measure, but she was always too confident to worry about actual intrusion. I pulled out the secured external drive. Everything I needed was backed up here, including the original draft of the acquisition contract she was so proud of. This deal, this dinner, was her career peak. I booted her spare laptop, running the decryption software I'd bought 2 months ago. 40 seconds of agonizing silence, then the files opened. I accessed the final merger agreement, the one she was taking to the dinner tomorrow, and the original, clean version. The manipulation was simple, surgical. I replaced 3 key clauses concerning the intellectual property rights and liability waivers. These changes were subtle, buried deep within the legal jargon, designed to bypass a rushed review by a celebratory legal team. They effectively handed their multi-million-dollar patent portfolio over to the competitor, while saddling her firm with all the future risk and cleanup costs. I saved the corrupted document under the correct file name, deleted the original clean copy, and shut down the laptop. The external drive went back into the drawer, key back under the lamp. The stage was set. The next morning, I feigned a severe stomach bug, told her I couldn't possibly move. She barely registered the lie, already absorbed in her final presentation prep. While she was showered and dressed, rehearsing her pitch in front of the bedroom mirror, I finalized my preparations. I had already emptied our joint checking account over the last 3 weeks, funneling just under 90% into my separate account in the Cayman Islands. She wouldn't notice until Monday morning when the automatic mortgage payment bounced. By then, it wouldn't be her problem anymore. I walked into the guest room closet. Her side was conspicuously empty. I'd quietly moved all her designer bags, jewelry, and crucial documents, passport, birth certificate, original prenup, into 3 large storage boxes labeled simply archived tax documents, and stored them in the far corner of the attic, the one she never visits because she claimed it gave her claustrophobia. Her entire life was packed and filed away. Except for the small, cheap overnight bag I'd placed by the back door, containing the bare essentials she'd need tonight, a generic toothbrush, spare work clothes, and a prepaid burner phone. She came downstairs at 6:30 p.m., looking formidable in her bespoke charcoal suit. "Okay, darling. Wish me luck. This is the big one. We'll be signing before 10. I gave her a long, lingering kiss, a performance I deserved an Oscar for. The taste of betrayal was metallic and cold on my tongue. "Break a leg, my love. I'll be here when you get back, celebrating our victory." "Don't wait up," she smiled, grabbing her briefcase, already mentally halfway to the boardroom. "Oh, I won't," I assured her. "I have a lot of work of my own to catch up on." As soon as the front door clicked shut, the loving husband dissolved. I didn't waste a second. I went straight to my home office and logged onto the company server using the backdoor access I developed during my 3 years as their lead IT consultant, before she leveraged her connections to force me into a different, lower-paying department to eliminate any appearance of spousal conflict of interest. First, the email to her CEO, CCing the entire board and the head of their internal legal team. Subject: immediate action. Required: fiduciary irresponsibility and contract tampering. Attached: a clean copy of the original contract, side by side with the corrupted version she just walked out the door with, clearly highlighting the 3 malicious clauses and the severe financial exposure they represented. I included metadata proof that the document was accessed and modified on her personal laptop yesterday evening. Second, the anonymous tip to the SEC about a series of minor but provable insider trading transactions related to a small merger she closed last month. The proof was undeniable. Minor, yes, but enough to initiate a full investigation and, crucially, freeze all her current assets immediately. Third, and most satisfying, I picked up the phone. I called the restaurant. The Phi-Cell Pinnacle, the impossibly exclusive place where the deal was being signed. I asked to speak to the maitre d'. "Yes, this is Mr. Davies," I said, using a low, authoritative voice that brooked no argument. "I need to ensure a special delivery gets to my wife, Mrs. Davies, at the private dining room, table 4. It's urgent personal business, related to an allergic reaction. Can you ensure it's delivered precisely at 9:15 p.m.? No sooner, no later." "Of course, sir. What is the delivery?" "It's a small, heavy wooden box. Tell her it's from me. And please confirm that the client signing the agreement, Mr. Thorne, is still present when the box arrives." A pause. "He is, sir. They have just ordered dessert." "Perfect. The driver will arrive at 9 o'clock sharp." I hung up, feeling the adrenaline flood my system. It was 8:45 p.m. I had 15 minutes to make one last necessary phone call. I dialed the number of the competitor's CEO, the man who stood to gain everything from my wife's spectacular fall. He picked up on the first ring. "It's done," I whispered. "The papers are signed, the server is burning, and the package is on its way to the table. Thorne is there. She thinks she's about to celebrate." "Excellent work, John," he replied, his voice a low purr of satisfaction. "The retainer is already in your account, and the position is waiting. Congratulations. You're free." "I know," I said, looking around the house, which would be mine completely in a matter of hours. "I just want to see the fireworks." I grabbed the remote and turned on the local news channel. I didn't want to rely on hearsay. I wanted a front row seat. The delivery window was closing. At 9:00 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was the delivery man. "Package dropped, Mr. Davies. Box is at the front desk." 9:15 p.m. Showtime. I imagined the scene, the luxurious private room, the celebratory champagne, the final contract exchange with Mr. Thorne, the pen hovering over the signature line. Then, the waiter approaches. My eyes were glued to the local news ticker. Nothing yet. Then, the delivery. A small, heavy wooden box, She would open it, probably annoyed at the interruption. Inside, resting on a bed of shredded legal documents, was only one item: the engraved silver locket I gave her on our wedding day, and next to the locket, the note. Check the attic, check your bank account, check the news, I'm out. The bomb wasn't the box, though. The box was just the distraction. At 9:22 p.m., the news ticker flashed across the bottom of the screen. Breaking. Major corporate acquisition halted mid-signing at the Pinnacle. Rumors of massive fraud and SEC involvement. I leaned back in the chair, letting out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. 10 minutes later, the front door rattled violently. Not the gentle turn of a key, but an aggressive, frantic banging. I walked calmly to the door, checking my reflection in the hall mirror. Calm, composed, a little sad. I opened the door. She was there, but the formidable suit was disheveled, her hair coming loose from the severe bun. Her eyes were wide, not with anger, but sheer primal panic. She looked like she had just seen a ghost. "John," she gasped, her voice barely a whisper. "What did you do? The contract, it was void. Thorne called me a criminal. The police were there. My accounts are frozen." I didn't invite her in. I just stood in the doorway, blocking her entrance. "I signed the contract, John, but the CEO called the waiter and told me to read the fine print. Those clauses. I didn't put those clauses in there. They said I sabotaged the deal." Her hands were trembling, clutching the empty briefcase. "You should have read the fine print, Sarah," I said, my voice flat. "But you were always too focused on the signature and the celebration to mind the details." "Why?" she pleaded, stepping forward. "We were going to be rich. We were going to have everything." "Everything you wanted, Sarah," I corrected. "You sacrificed me for this career years ago. I was just tired of being the silent partner, the accessory you dragged along to corporate functions." I stepped aside, finally allowing her to see the hall. By the back door, next to the small overnight bag, sat the 3 large, dusty boxes marked archived tax documents. She looked at the boxes, then back at me. Realization, slow and excruciating, dawned in her eyes. "That's not..." "It is," I confirmed. "All your things. Your bags, your jewelry, your documents. It's all boxed up, ready to go. The house is mine. The accounts are mine. The divorce papers are filed. They were filed this morning, citing irreconcilable differences, and ironically, her extreme focus on financial gain over marital fidelity." "Fidelity?" She spat the word out, regaining some of her fire. "You're the one who just ruined my life. You committed corporate espionage." "No, I secured my future," I countered smoothly. "And as for fidelity, Sarah, that's where the fun really begins." I reached into my pocket and pulled out the prepaid burner phone. I tossed it to her. "The number on that phone is the contact for your former associate, David Thorne. Not the client, the associate. The one you met at the Chicago conference 2 years ago. The one you promised the lead partnership to if he could feed you proprietary information about the competitor's pricing structure." She stared at the phone, then back at me, her face pale. "How do you know about David?" "I know everything, Sarah. I've known for 18 months. I just waited for the perfect moment for the information to be useful. I was the silent partner, remember? I set up your VPN. I maintained your private cloud. I fixed your glitches. I saw the texts, the calls, the data transfers. I recorded everything." I gestured toward the overnight bag. "The motel address is in there. It's cheap, but it'll do until the SEC finishes its investigation. I'm sure David will send money once he realizes you have nothing left to give him." You used me," she stammered, horrified. "No," I smiled sadly. You used me first. I just negotiated a better exit package. I closed the distance between us, leaning in until my mouth was near her ear. Tonight, you learned the real lesson, Sarah. In business and in marriage, never trust the person who controls the passwords. I stepped back and calmly pushed the door shut, leaving her standing on the porch with her small suitcase, her 3 boxes of former life, and the wreckage of her perfect career deal scattered behind her across the city. The house was silent again. The news report was now a full segment, detailing the massive fraud investigation unfolding at her firm. I walked to the kitchen, poured myself a celebratory scotch, and raised the glass to the television. It was absolutely perfect. I slammed the scotch glass down on the granite counter and grabbed my keys. Security was the priority. I called Mark, the locksmith, on the way to the door. Emergency rekey. Domestic situation. Now, I told him, giving him the address. He was silent for a second. Be there in 15, maybe 20. Don't open the door for anyone until I get there. Understood. I hung up, went straight to the home office and opened the laptop. The financial transfers were mostly complete, but the final crucial step was the house deed. She had signed the quitclaim deed last month, buried in a stack of investment papers she never bothered to read. I emailed the digital signature file to David, my lawyer. David's reply was instantaneous. Filing divorce papers at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Did you secure the assets? I typed back. 100%. She's distracted with the SEC right now. She won't see the civil papers coming. I deleted the message log. The house was already quiet again, almost peaceful. The only sound was the news anchor talking about the magnitude of the corporate fraud investigation she was now the face of. 15 minutes later, Mark arrived. He was fast, quiet, and asked no questions, which is exactly what I paid him for. While he was working on the deadbolts, my phone vibrated. It wasn't her. It was Kevin. Kevin, I saw the news report. Holy shit. What happened? Is she okay? I stared at the name, the man who thought he could casually tear down my life while planning his next career move. I deleted the text without replying. I needed to finish this properly. The wife was neutralized. The parasite needed removal. You're all set, sir. Everything new, everything secure, Mark said, handing me the new set of keys. I paid him double. Thanks for the speed. As soon as he left, I grabbed my coat and drove across town. I knew Kevin's schedule. He would be panicking, glued to the news, trying to call every mutual contact she had. He wouldn't expect me. I arrived at his high-rise apartment complex. I didn't bother calling the intercom. I knew the code from when my wife used to drop by to discuss Q3 projections on weekends. I took the elevator up, walked down the pristine hall, and knocked hard. The door opened immediately. Kevin looked like a frightened rabbit, pale, hair messy, wearing yesterday's work shirt. He saw me, and his eyes widened with confusion and sheer terror. You, he whispered. Don't bother closing the door, I said, stepping into his apartment. It smelled of stale coffee and desperation. She's gone, Kevin. Out of my house. Out of her job. Out of the picture. He stumbled back. I didn't know you knew. I didn't know you knew about us. I know everything, I corrected him. I knew before you started. I knew before she started. I knew before you ruined her career, or rather, I ruined it for her. He looked genuinely stunned. What are you talking about? The fraud investigation? That wasn't the government, Kevin. That was me. That was the cleanup effort. I pulled a thick manila envelope from inside my coat and tossed it onto his glass coffee table. It landed with a heavy thud. That envelope, I said, keeping my voice low and level, contains every email, every text, Every financial transfer, every hotel bill, and every piece of information tying you both together, dating back 3 years. It also contains documentation detailing your own side deals, the ones your firm doesn't know about yet. Kevin didn't move toward this envelope. He just stared at me. Your side deals are minor compared to her firm's disaster, I continued. But they are easily enough to get you disbarred and facing prison time. I compiled the evidence myself. It's neat, concise, and ready for filing with the state attorney and the ethics committee. He swallowed hard, his eyes finally showing comprehension. He was next. You have 2 options, I told him. Option 1, you try to contact her. You try to contact me. You try to show up at my house. If you do any of those things, I file that envelope tomorrow morning. You lose everything, your job, your license, your freedom. What's option 2? He asked, his voice barely audible. Option 2, you disappear, you change your phone number, you move out of this city, you never speak her name or mine again. You take the evidence of your own crimes, you burn it, and you start fresh, somewhere else, knowing I still hold the copies. I paused, letting the silence stretch. The decision is yours, Kevin. But you need to decide now, because I am already moving on. I turned, leaving the door slightly ajar. I didn't look back to see his choice. I didn't need to. The look on his face confirmed the panic. He was a professional, and professionals always choose self-preservation. Back in my car, I drove slowly toward the suburbs. The last loose end was tied. The revenge was complete. Financial, professional, and personal obliteration for her. Threat of utter ruin for him. I checked the time. Less than 2 hours since I had closed the door on her. I pulled into the garage, hitting the button to lock down the doors and turning on the newly keyed security system. The house was quiet, sterile, and finally, completely mine. I walked through the silent rooms, not as a husband, but as a sole proprietor. This was no longer a home built on lies, but an asset secured through calculated action. I picked up the half-empty bottle of scotch and walked toward the master bedroom. I needed a shower, a real drink, and then I needed to start planning the next phase, recovery and the future. The divorce papers would be filed at 9 a.m. By noon, I would start boxing up the few remaining items of hers that still managed to hide in the closets, the items that the new locks would now protect from her retrieval. She wouldn't be able to afford the legal fight to get them back anyway. The system I had built was airtight. I felt nothing but a clean, cold satisfaction. Loyalty is a choice. Disloyalty is a consequence. And I had just finished delivering the consequences. The email confirmation from Miller & Associates hit my inbox exactly at 9:01 a.m. Filed and served electronically. Standard procedure. They had sent the papers to her old work email, knowing she wouldn't check it immediately, but the clock was running. I grabbed the first box labeled Her Books and started filling it. The sound of cardboard tearing tape was satisfyingly final. I was halfway through stacking the sentimental junk when the private number rang on my cell. I answered. Yes? It's me. Don't say my name. A voice muttered, static underneath. Detective Hayes. I had paid him a significant retainer last month for discreet surveillance, anticipating exactly this type of desperation. Report, I commanded, continuing to fold a sweater I wouldn't touch again. She tried to access the safe deposit box at the downtown branch 10 minutes ago, Hayes reported. I stopped packing. I tossed the sweater back into the closet. Impossible. I changed the authorization last week. She has no signature. Rights. She didn't use a key. She was with a man, not the one from the hotel photos. This one looked professional. Suit, expensive watch. They were arguing with the bank manager. She left empty-handed, looking panicked. They got into a black sedan, heading toward the coast highway, fast. This changed everything. The affair was petty. This was targeted. Financial maneuvering after the filing meant she wasn't just trying to hurt me emotionally. She was attempting to compromise the settlement or steal assets before the freeze. She was desperate, and desperate people don't think clearly. I hung up on Hayes without a goodbye and immediately called Jensen, my contact at Bank Security. He owed me 3 solid favors from the merger 5 years ago. Jensen, I need the name of the man who was with her, your client's soon-to-be ex-wife, 10 minutes ago, trying to access Box 402, and I need a, full account of what the manager told them. Jensen cleared his throat. That's high clearance, man. She's technically still authorized until the court order is processed. I filed the papers 30 minutes ago. If she's compromising my assets, I need to know the counterparty. Now, Jensen, this is the favor you owe me for the SEC distraction. There was silence, then a heavy sigh. Give me 3 minutes. I didn't wait. I walked to my home, office safe, and retrieved the hard drive I had prepared weeks ago, containing all the evidence related to the Peterson acquisition. If she was going for financial ruin, I needed the counter-evidence loaded and ready for immediate deployment. 5 minutes later, my phone vibrated. Text from Jensen. The man was Victor Sharp, consultant. Name flagged internally 6 months ago for involvement in the Peterson acquisition. Manager said the box, so. Contents were transferred to a holding trust 3 days ago. They know you moved the goalposts. They didn't get anything. Victor Sharp. The name sent a cold, clinical surge through me. Sharp wasn't a lover. He was a corporate cleaner, known for aggressive, often illegal, information retrieval during hostile takeovers. This wasn't about sex or spite anymore. This was about the Peterson deal, the merger that would finalize my empire next quarter. She didn't just sleep around. She was selling proprietary information, attempting industrial sabotage. I slammed the hard drive back into the safe and grabbed the keys to the Porsche. The packing could wait. I needed to intercept them before they reached their destination. Coast Highway meant only one thing: the private dock area, the fastest way out of the city, or a quick transfer of goods. I called Hayes back immediately. New intel. The man is Victor Sharp. Corporate espionage. They're headed toward the coast. My guess? Meeting a buyer or looking for a fast exit by sea. I need you to confirm their exact location, right now. I'm moving. I lost the signal briefly near the old shipyard entrance, but I think they're heading for Pier 12. The one owned by the competition. Henderson's company. I know it. I floored the gas, merging onto the freeway. The speedometer climbed past the legal limit. I needed to get there before she handed over whatever stolen physical documents she might still have access to. Hayes, I want live updates on the black sedan's location. If they stop, I want to know where. If she meets anyone, I want a picture. But the priority is Sharp. Keep your distance, but don't lose them. Understood. Moving closer to the shipyard now. I drove 30 miles in 18 minutes. The cold, satisfaction I felt earlier was replaced by focused rage. Loyalty is a choice, and she had chosen to burn the entire foundation down, not just our marriage. Fine. I would enjoy putting out the fire with a tactical strike. As I approached the turnoff for Pier 12, Hayes' voice crackled on the line. They stopped. Black sedan is idling near Warehouse 4. Sharp got out. He's talking to a man in a navy coat. The man in the coat looks like... Henderson? I asked, my voice flat. No. Too young. Looks like a messenger. She's still in the car, on her phone. Looks stressed. I slowed, pulling the Porsche into a deserted parking lot across the street from the pier entrance. This wasn't the time for a flashy confrontation. This was time for information gathering. Then the kill shot. I pulled out my own phone and dialed Miller, my divorce lawyer. Miller, stop whatever you are doing. I need you to draft a new criminal complaint right now. Forget adultery. We're moving to corporate espionage and theft of trade secrets." Miller sounded stunned. Mr. Narrator's last name. Those are serious accusations. Do you have proof? I have motive, opportunity, and the identity of her co-conspirator, Victor Sharp, who is currently meeting a contact near Henderson's dock, minutes after failing to access key documents. I need the complaint, filed and served on the district attorney's office by 3 p.m. I want warrants issued for her arrest and Sharp's arrest before sundown. That's fast, but manageable. I'll need the details of the proprietary information. It's all on the secured drive I provided last week. File 7, under Peterson Acquisition, Security Contingency. Start reading. I'll call you back with the specifics of the exchange when I have them. I hung up, grabbed my binoculars from the glove compartment, and studied Warehouse 4. Sharp had finished his brief conversation. He took a small, unmarked envelope from the man in the navy coat. That was the handoff. Not documents, but payment. Sharp returned to the sedan. My wife looked up from her phone as he got in. I could see her face clearly through the zoom lens. Tired, strained, but with a flicker of avarice in her eyes as Sharp showed her the envelope. She was compromised. Completely. The sedan started moving again, not back toward the city, but further down the coast road, toward the residential area. They weren't done. Hayes, they're moving again. Follow discreetly. Get me their destination. I pulled out and maintained a 3-car distance behind them. If they were heading to a residence, they were planning to settle in and divide the spoils, or perhaps meet the actual buyer. 10 minutes later, the sedan turned into a gated community I recognized, the exclusive section overlooking the cliffside. The security was tight. Hayes, you won't get through the gate without drawing attention, I warned him. Already on it. I'm pulling into the contractor entrance around the back. They just entered the drive for 1045, the big glass house. It belongs to Henderson, I finished for him. Of course, it was always Henderson. He had been trying to sabotage the Peterson deal for months. My wife wasn't just cheating with a stranger, she was working for my biggest competitor, using pillow talk to dismantle my company. The level of betrayal was staggering, not in its emotional cost, but in its calculated economic damage. I found a quiet service road half a mile away, parked the car, and pulled on a dark jacket. I wasn't waiting for the warrants. I needed to see the full transaction, the final act of disloyalty, so the evidence would be airtight when Miller filed the criminal complaints. I left the Porsche and moved quickly through the dense, manicured hedge lines, separating the expensive properties. I reached the perimeter of 1045. It was a clean, modern building, all glass and concrete, meaning easy sightlines, but poor cover. I found a small, overgrown utility access point leading down to the cliff path below the house. The path was rarely used. I moved silently, descending until I was directly below the massive deck on the rear of the house. A set of French doors was open onto the deck. I could hear voices, amplified by the glass structure above. The bank box was empty, Victor. He moved it. He knew. That was her voice, tight with panic. It doesn't matter, Sarah, Sharp's voice replied, calm and irritatingly smug. The physical files were back up. We have the digital transcripts, thanks to your access codes. Henderson is satisfied. The information is enough to trigger the investigation and delay the merger indefinitely. You did your part. And the payment? She asked. Half now, half when the investigation is public. Standard. Henderson is not a man who risks exposure. A rustle of paper. I imagined the envelope changing hands. I pulled my phone out and started recording audio, focusing the microphone upward.
Sarah, look at me. This was Henderson's voice, smooth and predatory. You're divorcing him anyway. Why risk the legal battle? Take this, disappear, and let me handle the rest. By the time he figures out the depth of the leak, it'll be too late. You'll be rich and free. He filed the papers this morning, she whispered. He locked me out. He was planning this. He has everything tied up. Good, Henderson chuckled. That makes your testimony more believable when we finally take him down. You're the victim here, Sarah. The wronged wife who just happened to see some documents. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from the adrenaline of focused execution. I had all I needed. Sharp, Henderson, her confirmation of access, and the description of the payment. Adultery, corporate espionage, and conspiracy. I checked the time. 1:30 p.m. Miller had 3 hours to file the EO paperwork. I quickly climbed back up the path, circling wide to my car. I got inside, started the engine, and pulled out onto the road without looking back. I called Miller immediately, switching to the secure line. Miller, I have the audio recording. I have the location, Henderson's cliffside property. The conversation confirms the use of stolen access codes and the transfer of proprietary digital information to Henderson via Sharp. She admitted he locked her out, confirming motive. I have the complaints drafted, sir, Miller said, sounding energized. I just need the final go-ahead. Where do you want the police dispatched? I want them dispatched to Henderson's house, 1045 Cliffside Drive. But not yet. Hold the dispatch until 2:45 p.m. I need to be in position when they arrive. And make sure the warrant specifies both Sarah and Victor Sharp. I want Henderson sweating, but I want them in cuffs. Understood. 2:45 p.m. dispatch. And what about your presence? I'm going home. I have a box waiting for her at the front door, and I need to finalize the company security protocols before the news breaks. I drove back toward the city, the cold clarity returning. The initial shock of finding out about her affair had been replaced by the tactical satisfaction of neutralizing a severe threat. She didn't just choose disloyalty. She chose economic warfare. I arrived back at the house at 2:30 p.m. I moved the final box, the one containing her limited edition designer shoes, from the bedroom closet to the front porch. I placed a printout of the electronic filing confirmation on top of the box. The new locks shone faintly in the afternoon sun. At 2:45 p.m., I stood by the window overlooking the driveway and watched the news on mute. I was waiting for the live report. My phone rang. Hayes. They're coming out of the house now, Hayes whispered. Sharp, her, and Henderson. Henderson looks furious. They're rushing to the black sedan. Too late, I murmured, watching the flashing lights of the unmarked police cars speeding past my street, heading toward the coast. The police just rolled up on Henderson's gate, Hayes confirmed. It's chaos. Sharp and the sedan are boxed in. They're pulling them out now. I didn't need to see the rest. The trap was sprung. I walked to the front door, opened it, and looked at the box of shoes on the porch. I left the door unlocked, a gesture of finality, and stepped back into the silent house. The consequences were delivered. The phone rang again. This time it was Miller. Warrants executed, sir. Both Sharp and your ex-wife are in custody, charged with conspiracy and theft of trade secrets. Henderson is being detained for questioning. We are filing the civil suit concurrently with the divorce papers tomorrow morning. Your assets are secure. Good work, Miller. Send the bill. I hung up. I sat in the living room, looking out at the meticulously maintained lawn, feeling the clean, cold satisfaction wash over me again. Loyalty is a choice. Disloyalty is a consequence. And some consequences are delivered by the state police, not just by divorce papers. The house was quiet now. Finally. She wouldn't be coming back for the shoes. She wouldn't be coming back for anything.
The system was airtight. The fire was out, and the Empire was safe. I stood up, the silence ringing louder than any argument ever could. It wasn't the silence of peace, but the silence of sterilization. The heavy lifting was done. I walked to the study, past the pristine white marble flooring she'd insisted upon. It was too cold for me, but perfect for the clean break I was making now. I picked up the secure line and dialed Anderson, my lead attorney. He picked up immediately. "It's done," I stated, no greeting necessary. "Confirming receipt of the official reports, sir," Anderson replied, his voice low and professional, like the purr of a very expensive car. "The charges filed by the state AG's office regarding the compromised patent data are significant. They moved fast once. Miller delivered the hard evidence of her collaboration with..." "I don't need the play-by-play, Anderson, just the bottom line." "The bottom line is that her immediate future involves orange jumpsuits, not divorce settlements. She signed the prenuptial agreement waiver last year, remember? The one that explicitly states any breach of corporate confidentiality, even ancillary knowledge, voids all claims to marital assets and invokes the forfeiture clause. We are proceeding with the clean separation this week. No negotiation, no alimony. Her legal team is already requesting consultation, but they have zero leverage. We have the wire transfers, the encrypted communications, and the confession from the target she was feeding information to." I allowed myself a small, tight smile. "Excellent. The asset freeze is still in place?" "Absolute. Down to the last trust fund penny she thought was hers. Everything is secured back into the primary holding company. Consider the exposure contained." "Good. Send the final paperwork to my office by 9 a.m. tomorrow. I want this signature in hand before the end of the week. And Anderson, thank you. You executed this flawlessly." "It's what we do, sir." She chose a high-risk game. We simply made sure the house always wins. I hung up, feeling the weight of the last 6 months finally lift. It wasn't about the money, though the preservation of the company was paramount. It was about the principle. She had confused comfort with security, and thought my trust was a weakness to exploit. I walked back into the kitchen. Her favorite coffee mug, the unnecessarily large one with the gold rim, was still in the sink. I picked it up, feeling the ceramic cool in my hand. It was a small, inconsequential item, yet it was the last physical trace of her careless presence. I opened the garbage disposal, dropped the mug in, and flipped the switch. The sound of porcelain grinding into dust was quick and brutal. Satisfying. The house needed to be cleansed, physically and energetically. I called the estate manager. "Elias, I need the security codes reset immediately, all of them. And I need a team in here tomorrow morning. Everything that belongs to her, clothes, trinkets, personal effects, needs to be boxed, inventoried by a third party, and put into storage in Nevada. Do not leave a single item behind. Not a photograph. Not a forgotten hairbrush. Pay the storage fees for 5 years. After that, they can auction it off. I don't care." "Understood, sir. Is there a specific reason for the urgency?" Elias asked carefully. "The reason is that the past is over, and I don't want relics of betrayal cluttering up the future." I spent the next few hours working in the study, reviewing financials that were now clean of any potential liability she might have created. The company's future was secured. My future was secured. When the sun set, painting the windows in hues of violent orange and cold blue, I sat down on the leather sofa. I wasn't celebrating, not exactly. Celebration implies joy. This was just quiet, efficient closure. I had loved her once. That was the stupidest part of the entire ordeal. I had confused ambition with loyalty and attraction with permanence. I'd given her access to my life, my name, my resources. I had given her everything, and she had seen it as a toolkit for her own petty gain, willing to burn the whole structure down just to keep warm on a momentary whim with some low-life competitor. People talk about the pain of being cheated on. They focus on the emotional wound, the ego bruise. That's amateur stuff. The real lesson, the brutal, enduring truth, is that trust is a weapon. When you give someone unconditional trust, you hand them the blueprint for your destruction. My only fault was allowing her to hold that weapon for too long, but I retrieved it, and she paid the maximum price. Not just loss of status or comfort, but genuine legal and financial ruin. A consequence that would follow her long after the gloss of her easy life faded. Loyalty is a choice. I chose to protect what I built. She chose to burn it down. And now, the air was clear. The empire was safe. It was time to move on. The only thing left to do was start vetting the next generation of leadership and, perhaps, the next generation of potential partners. But this time, the vetting process would be thorough, merciless, and based on demonstrated actions, not shared affections. The cost of this lesson was high. But the security it bought, priceless.